Good afternoon, sir. Hey! SICOC Abubakar. Kota Guard Commander. Guards provided by the Gambia Immigration Department, Banjul Region. Guards present. Ready for your inspection, sir.
Good evening, and thank you all for being here. We understand you've been here for some time now, but then we believe this is important for you to also engage with the director. As you are all aware that since last week on the 16th of July 2025, the Director of Immigration had set out on a tour all around the country to visit immigration stations within the country. So the purpose of this briefing is to provide you insights and overview of what happened throughout this particular week, and then share certain concerns that we are able to learn throughout the procedures. Now, for the sake of time, I will be restricting the time for this briefing. So once he is done with this brief, we will take at least 3 questions from the media to clarify with you before we have a leave of you. Please bear with us that we have to be very time conscious so that we can have other engagements to be completed. I will now want to call DG to share insights with you.
Good evening to you all. I, Director General of Immigration, Mr. Ebrima Mboob. I was on a conducted tour, a countrywide tour of the Gambia to familiarize myself with the GID staff, security forces, local authorities, and other stakeholders, including the Gambian communities. 2, on the agenda of this tour was to monitor the administrative and operational day-to-day activities of GID staff in the field. 3 was to update myself on the successes and the challenges, to also put or make recommendations for the way forward. 4 on the agenda was on community engagement, sensitization, on GID mandate. You'll be reminded that we are reviewing our act, and currently we have a standing bill. It's very important that staff in the field are updated on the responsibilities and immigration matters that we believe are for transition or for change management. It was also important to note that we give support to our staff in the field, motivate them alongside to keep them with that high spirit. Now, why the nationwide tour? Since my appointment in March 2024, this is also mandatory that you as the leader must go out to staff to understand the conditions under which they work, the logistical challenges, fleet, who are their stakeholders, who are those philanthropists, locations where we believe immigration should expand on. This was quite a very general issue of which the command should address. So what we learned out in the field has to do with the concerns and needs of the populace. Quite a lot was very interesting. We've taken a lot of note. We've also thanked some local authorities who have given us space, I mean land, because immigration have been squatting. Of course, we foster that collaboration among sister forces and the communities for a simple reason, that resources are scarce, and of course, with what one has, one would be able to resource that with another security institution. These guidances have also been given, and I'm proud to say thank you, my Honorable Minister of Interior, Abdoulaye Sanyang, and I want to thank the Inspector General of Police, thanking also Mr. Cisse Dilik, Director General, and I want to also thank CG Giari Yankuba Dabo, because these are people who have guided me before I take off this tour. One thing that I'm also motivated with is I'm able to recognize the roadmap of which immigration or GID should be taking. We have a draft SP, that is our strategic plan, and I have a very dynamic team. I was not just in the lead alone. What you are seeing illuminating is not just me. It's about a very good team that we have behind. Youngsters who have learned, people with their skills, officers with their talents, others with their energy, everybody coherently devoted this to make a difference with GID. And I want to stand on the platform once again to say, we are doing skills development. We have footballers, we have plumbers, we have tailors, just to discourage irregular migration. And of course, we also need those talents. We have electricians, but we respect them too. We have mechanics. So it's not only for those graduates that you can recruit. GID is a place for every Gambian who wants to serve your nation. Under that mandate that we are given, that makes us feel and look as immigration officers. Secondly, we are empowering gender. We have women taking responsibilities. We have the commissioner for BIA is a woman commissioner. The operations officer for KM is a female, and we have our migration management unit led by a female assistant commissioner. So youngsters are taking that role. Some of the experienced officers are taking the role of area officers just to supervise and see how we create space for the young ones. For immigration and national development, most of our roadmap indicators are aligned from the NDP. And of course, we are cognizant of the sub-regional policies of ECOWAS. One thing that is very key for me to put here is the executive directives that we are seeing with the government are not just mere policies. These are policies derived from the sub-region. We all know about free movement and ECOWAS and what it stands for. We heard about free trade. We all know what it means. This is Africa for us. And we have to understand that there is a dream. The Africa we want, 2063. But of course, we are looking at Africa at 2030. When do we achieve all that we yearn to? So when the heads of states go on, some of the derived conclusions are what we need to enforce. So the executive directive on free visa is here. And of course, we have the discretion to control. But internally, we also contribute to the nation's security. And we are one of those institutions that you cannot exclude. Immigration means development. We call on every Gambian, philanthropists, that the state cannot do it alone. Of course, we are under-resourced, we are challenged, but where the need arises, join us to fight migration. Irregular migration, I mean. I have very able team. We have stakeholders who are working with us. It is good to recognize the contribution of IOM and of course the return and reintegration package for Gambians who have been left outside and ashore. We are thanking our cooperation partners, Italy, Netherlands, Switzerland, Germany, and the rest of the institutions that continue to support us, the Frontex on intelligence sharing, the AFIC. We have officers, all these you see are very dynamic. They are resource persons, and they handle a lot of immigration expertise issues. So the country can rely on them as much as I rely on them too. With GID, the sky is the limit, because here we are as very young, dynamic Gambians ready to see that immigration has its place on the globe. There are achievements we've also noted on this nationwide tour. Gambian people, we are controlling the document. And of course, we are fighting fraud. We also want you to join us fight that fraud. What is important to note is that we have a public relation office, and we have officers designated as community engagement officers. Should anybody find anything that is unbecoming of an immigration expert, our doors are open. Call us, get to us, and we will be able to find you response. Discipline we are advocating, and internally, you have all seen your media on records. When I say on records, I mean media records. Sometimes, yes, we are harassed or we are bullied, but when we go on fact-finding, it's a different case. I think immigration is a friend, and I think each and everybody has that responsibility to uphold that credible organization we call GID, because we all need it. But of course, there are challenges surrounding this same office. We have issuance issues, but of course, we all know that the government itself is challenged. But they're doing a lot. We have been given support by the government recently to tackle the national identity card. And without much, I'm going to stop here to thank each and everybody who made it a success for the tour to the end. Immigration officers, I'm proud of you. I am very much proud of you, and I stand tall with the officers behind me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So you've all heard the brief from the director. A brief summary is that the engagements were almost in 4 different folds. That is, meeting with stakeholders within the regions, governors, alcalos, chiefs, and other authorities, engaging with immigration officers within the regions directly, also having a side visit and other activities. So if you would want to us to address, I will take at least 2 or 3 questions before we will take a leave of you.
I know that all the questions I want to ask cannot be possible here, but hopefully during your tour, what are some of the most pressing issues that the officials are encountering? Not just that, but what are the issues that after this tour?
Thank you so much. I think we will take the response for that question and have.
The very question coming from staff that is much a priority for them is having to do with, let me generalize it in one context, to be occupational health and safety needs. You are not safe when you are in a place without a fleet town. For example, Tabanding is off Brikamaba at the border, and it takes you like 25 kilometers somehow about to reach to the highway. When the officers are there, even at night, the need comes for somebody to have medical attention. It's difficult to get them ferried there because they're at the border. You are not expecting any other vehicle or motor to assist. So before anything that I will say, the lives of officers matters. In places that they are serving that are very remote, and yet you deploy them, they take that. Conditions that are very deplorable needs our attention. And I think this is one thing that has to do with life that I think I consider a priority. Number two on the question that had to do with the needs of communities. The communities spoke highly of GID, they did appreciate. But one other thing that they do or feel challenged about is the issue of national identity card. This is true. But we all know this issue around national identity card and what the government is doing to mitigate those issues surrounding the same ID card. Now, if you ask me what are we doing to respond to the needs of the communities or the people, the populace, Gambians and non-Gambians alike, immigration was assisted not through government. We had 50 computers. What we did, instead of administrative use, we deploy this outside. Now, if you remember, or you will see that Gunjur was issuing ID card. When Brikama broke down, we had to push Gunjur to Brikama. We also deploy from Kerawan to Farafenya to Sut, Sibanor to Sut for LRR because they are. This was a strategy to mitigate. When we had our computers gifted, those that were gifted, what we did was, instead of administrative use, we deployed them to those that were for reinforcement so that they can be back. And those computers are being programmed so that Gunjur is active, Kerawan is active, and then Sibanor is active, while we have all those main centers also moving on. Again, with the motorbikes, where I'm standing right now, through UNHCR, we've been assisted with 5 to 6 motorbikes. One is deployed to Tabanding, where, of course, even without vehicle, but they will be able to, and this is done within the last 40 days as we embark. And simply because for some, even when we are there, we'll proffer recommendation that this has to be deployed there. So we looked into those areas where they are far from communities, so that they have something to access the main towns or main villages, at least access roads. So because we are expected to be deployed in remote areas where people might frown to even feel civilized. But as officers, we take it upon and we don't complain. So if you talk of how we are resourcing some of these areas, these are some of the strides we have taken. And of course, one good thing is we've also moved most administrative desks into the field. And that's why we have a good number of officers now in the field for enforcement, regular immigration enforcement. We also have on migration control, the belt of Bara, and then KM around Bakau, Sanyang to Katong is cordoned. From January to date, we have only one boat that arrived there, I don't know, Western Wall, let me call it that way. I don't want to be specific on a country. But more than 5,000 were intercepted. And we have prosecutions of more than 12 cases. Some are still pending on people that are just smuggling migrants. So if you look at that number, it's very big. January to date. And we visited Germany, we have seen a corresponding decline and no arrival in Germany as I speak, because no boat has left this source, only because you have immigration officers cordoned and deployed. And I specifically, the last intake of 250 personnel, they've cordoned the area. And of course, there are experts who also take care of these offices. And I think I will be able to gladly call on the Assistant Commissioner for Migration, if she's around. She's gone, okay. This is happening. Alongside, we have the Gambia Commission for Refugees also on protection matters and giving. So quite a lot of interceptions were covered by the media themselves, and you see how much numbers are there when we get them. Our challenge on that side is that we don't have a reception center. And now we took a tour of the Commission for Refugees. We have seen for shelter in case you come to declare yourself as a refugee or running from any other situation that we do. Right now, over 27 countries are recorded with us, with more than 2,500 individuals under the protection of the Gambia Commission of Refugees. I don't know if you still need more answers, but what we are doing is a transformation step, it's a change method, so we can meet those challenges. Of course, we cannot cover all, but what I'm seeing with the spirit of the officers in the field makes me happy as a DG, and collaborate with other teams to ensure that. But I can't say this without also thanking the Guardia Civil and the Navy, the police, where we need enforcement, they normally come in. What we see recently is that around Salaji, we've got interceptions there. We also have around the Jabang Highway, those empty houses. You can see people that are renting their houses will not know who is coming, but you have all this that can occupy room. So we depend on intelligence. And I'm glad to have our intel officer here. I don't need to show his face, but we have immigration intelligence, and of course they are doing very well. Thank you.
And also with regards to Pony, before the military raid, we have been going there and we have realized that the area has a lot of commencement of people in and out.
Phony.
That is inside, around Pony. So there are a lot of people move inside and out. In fact, if you go to Sibari, you see people who come to Sibari and they take them to customers. So I was like, you have you spotted out people from this country, though they are very porous areas, we know they are porous communities where people have moved in and out. But have you spotted out those?
Thank you very much. I've got response to that. Actually, that concern we've mapped already. The concern I meant is the need for identity card. You see, we have to understand when we were doing manual ID card, it was all over, everywhere. You just come to wall and it demands that we issue biometric documents. And that is a standard within the ECOWAS and of course globally. This infrastructure with rural electrification, we should thank government for electrifying the rural areas, for the road network provided, because there are things that really facilitate some of those deployment and expansion. But quite necessarily, we are challenged only by banks, commercial banks around the length of Central River region. But with us, we have discussed with AG's Accountant General's office to have an alternative receipting so that we can have enrollment. But again, you are aware that not long ago, we had mobile teams to go and enroll people even in the region, only to expand the need, to expand that courtesy. Actually, it's a right of the people that we should be able to serve them. When I say right, I'm still trying to qualify that because it's a privilege to have that document. But to them, when I say them, it's much a right. We might issue to them on privilege, but where you go to those communities, it's more a right on their face. But you have to understand, you know, this a whole lot of mechanism in this, that we are willing, but now let's consider those facilities, those that would facilitate our expansion. Now, we engage accountant generals, and of course, some banks are coming in so that we can have the receipts. That is just to cut interaction of officers and money or people. Because most people, there are a lot of agents also surviving on immigration like a tick, but yet they are not seen. Everything is immigration. But to respond to your question, we've mapped out areas like Sankandi. We've had a place, and of course around, so that the people from Sankandi to LRR, they will be having that privilege, because people live in the cohorts, in just small bend towards the river Gambia, and this is along that belt, the need of the people. So we've mapped out there. We've mapped out areas around Kaur also, around Panchang end towards Njoben. We've seen where some borders also pose a threat to what we might call expansion. We might not go too close. But the people of Kaur also requested, because Farafenye is very far, and of course, going to Janjambure is another thing. So we have given our word that expansion will be made possible to those communities, so that into main towns where we have recognized immigration entry points will be given that facility. We've heard from Fatoto, but even Fatoto had an issuing center. But gentlemen, the problem is when governments, cut short, it poses at who are implementing. but government has at the moment issuances going on, but it's not yet in full gear. And of course, that is where we are yearning to. And they have given the necessary funding so that we will expand on some of those. So our thanks to government that they've also been able to identify the needs of the populace. And of course, documentation impacts on our life, you know, and if that answers your question, we will be definitely supporting that expansion.
I think that is all that time has for us. We would have loved to engage more, but feel free to reach out to us if you have any other concerns. We'll be glad to answer.